For a lot of people, Native people, Thanksgiving is not a day to be thankful. Oh, I must first clarify, I am not Native American, I'm an ally. Or perhaps you might say an accomplice. Anyway, we're going up to Plymouth and back in one day. We'll get up there about 11:30, 12 o'clock noon, we have a ceremony, and then some speeches, and then we march around the town with our banners. The townsfolk don't much like it, but we do. And then we get together and we have a nice potluck dinner. And then we come back. It's a long, long day, but it's a wonderful experience. And tomorrow is going to be very, very cold. We call it the National Day of Mourning, but we do celebrate the fact that Native people are still here, and they're still strong. Leonard comes out of a mixed background. He's Anishinaabe, Dakota, and also of French descent. He comes from the Turtle Mountain Chippewa Reservation in North Dakota. Leonard joined AIM fairly early in his life because he went through, like a lot of Native people, he went through the Eisenhower years of termination. They tried to terminate the Native nations. It eventually had to stop, but he came out of that. He was also a victim of the boarding schools. If you don't know about that, it's something you should look into because it was horrendous. It's finally pretty much over. Not just here, but in Canada as well. At the moment, Leonard is in prison in Coleman, Florida. Is anybody here who doesn't know much about his case? I think most of you do. I'm going to pass out some material for you to read. It's a complex case. I don't want to go into all the details. He is serving 2 consecutive life sentences. He was denied parole in 2009. They said, come back in 15 years. Leonard celebrated, if you want to call it that, his 69th birthday this past September. He is in very poor health. He has diabetes. He had a stroke a few years ago, which left him partially blind. He has very high blood pressure. He may have some other issues. The doctor has warned him. He has got to be very careful. He is a good candidate for a stroke or a heart attack. Unfortunately, Leonard, like most other prisoners who have health issues, don't get medical care in prison. It's extremely inadequate. At one time, he was actually denied his diabetes medication. Right now, Leonard's only hope, as Paul mentioned, is executive clemency. And so, until Obama leaves office, we are pressuring him. We ask people to call the White House. I'm going to pass out cards with the number. Especially on Friday, we try to do that so that they get a whole bunch of calls on Friday. Write to Obama. Fax the White House. Tweet Obama even. Just keep in touch constantly to try to get his attention. On November 13th, we were down in Washington, D.C. because Obama has instituted something called the White House Native Tribal Nations Conference. And one delegate, now it used to be 2, one delegate can come from any of the 566 federally recognized tribes to come for this conference. Not even half came this year because they're getting pretty fed up at it. Obama's doing nothing for them. But they have a conference in the Department of Interior building, and we have a vigil across the street. There's a very small park for Simon Bolivar across the street. We had a vigil there from sunrise on. And they were much more interested in us this year, the tribal leaders. They'll tell you, well, we have to be careful, we support Leonard, but we can't do much because we're afraid of losing our federal grants. Or some of them say, you're wasting your time, he's never going to get out. You know, do something else with your time and your money. It's hopeless. But we're not going to give up. And another good reason, as many of you know, for political prisoners is, let the BOP know that they have supporters. If they have a health crisis, put pressure on them. Try to get them to let the prisoner see an outside doctor. So it's very, very important to keep up this fight. But as I say, all we can do is put pressure on Obama. Leonard has exhausted all of his other legal rights. That's it. I don't know if anybody, well, I can pass out some information about Leonard and what he went through. We're approaching some interesting dates. The 29th, tomorrow, is the anniversary of the Sand Creek Massacre. I don't know if many people know about it. It was a horrendous thing that happened in Colorado in 1864. We recently passed the anniversary of the Dakota 38 in 1862. And we're coming up on December 29th on the terrible massacre at Wounded Knee. And so this month has been, of course, Native American Heritage Month. And tomorrow is actually Native American Heritage Day. Unfortunately, the White House switchboard will probably be closed, but it would have been a good day to call. We're hoping that you folks will join us. Call the White House, write to Obama. That's about all we can do. Thanks.